Hi guys, welcome or welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a wonderful day today. Now last year I had a little challenge on my channel where I spun a colour wheel and whatever colour it landed on, I picked that off my shelves. And if you watch my last video, you'll know that this year I want to incorporate mood reading a bit more. I basically want to set myself up for success with my reading. And so I have created a spin wheel that has prompts on it that will allow me to either mood read or might confront me with a book that I've been putting off and therefore force it off my shelf. So this is a challenge that's done by multiple people over the internet. Multiple people do TBR takedown, TBR unhaul it, all these sorts of things. So I haven't come up with a name for mine, but it's basically read my TBR. I just want to read books that are on my physical TBR so that I can get through them and hopefully put myself in the positive within a year. So without further ado, let me show you the brand new wheel that I designed for this challenge. Okay, so as you can see on the screen, I have the color wheel that I've created with prompts to get me into reading my TBR. But it also, like I said, is with the intention of helping me out with my mood reading. So there are prompts on here that I would love to avoid, like the longest book. There's also a couple of prompts on here that are easier for me, like free picks. All of these prompts range from number of pages, how many stars I predict that I'm going to rate it, highest rated, lowest rated, like all of these things are going to be on this wheel. So without me blabbing on, I think you get the gist of what's happening here. I'm going to spin this wheel and pick the first book of 2026. What are the chances that my first spin, I get a free pick? I thought it was going to be a Minty pick. I was going to get so excited to get Minty to pick my book. What are the chances that the first book is a free pick? I know exactly what I'm going to pick. This is so easy. So the book that I very much want to read the most on my whole bookshelves at the moment, that I put off all last year because I wasn't reading long books and I was just avoiding every thick book under the sun, Shield of Sparrows. I don't know what it is about this book that I want to read so much, but I've heard such good things about it, and I've never read from this author before. It's a new author to me, but I don't know. I'm just really excited. I think this is going to be good. It's going to have good things in store. It is a thick book, but I'm intending on reading thicker books this year because I was avoiding them like the plague last year. It has 634 pages. Decent chunker. I think I'm going to really enjoy this book, and we'll see what I think of it as I start it. I believe this has like the element of gods, monsters, humans, I do believe, like mortals they call them. And she's a princess, but she was never meant to rule and never meant to fight. This sounds like it's just up my alley, and I'm very excited. I can't wait. Oh, this is going to be so good. I tried to update you guys last night on the book that I'm reading, which is Shield of Sparrows, and the footage of me talking about it entirely went missing. I don't know where it's gone, but it's gone. So luckily I haven't gotten too much further through the book. So when I updated you last night, I was about 45% of the way through the book. I am now 60% of the way through this book. And I can talk to you a bit about what I said in that update while I can remember. So essentially this book is following Odessa. Now in these kingdoms they have monsters, and the gods created these monsters sort of in retaliation of jealousy to their parents who created the humans. So they've created monsters to put on this earth. Every generation, like every 30 years, a migration happens where a creature called the Crux, they all come over and they just annihilate everyone. And so all the kingdoms have made this sort of truce of sorts, like over 100 years ago, and it's called the Shield of Sparrows. And basically it means that they all cooperate with each other in the way that they don't attack each other, because they're both going through these cruxes together and dealing with the monsters together. And they end up marrying certain princes and princesses together to establish alliances and to split the families off and allow each family to be in each kingdom, basically. So all the bloodlines are in all the kingdoms. And Odessa's sister has been lined up to be the Sparrow for years. Like, she's been training since she was young to become the Sparrow, to be married off to another kingdom, essentially to spy for her father as well, for something that he wants. But what happens when Odessa herself is requested as the Sparrow and she can't find a way out of it, neither can her father, and now she is set to spy on this kingdom. So I'm really enjoying this book so far. I'm enjoying especially the monsters and how vivid they're being described. So where I just read, we had an attack with barrow wolves, which are a sort of wolf in this book that's not a normal typical wolf. They're quite large. I would probably compare them to a dire wolf, but I think they've got more features that I just don't remember. But the fact is, when it was described to me, I had it so vividly in my mind what they looked like that when the attack happened, I actually got a little bit scared. Like, it was described in a way that the monsters were attacking people and attacking our characters. And it was just explained in a way and described in a way that made me feel like I was standing there watching it, or I was experiencing it myself. So when the barrow wolf jumped through the window, I could imagine exactly what that would be like and how she ran and its breath on the back of her feet. Like, all of that was done so well. It was described so well. It is so vivid. However, when I put all of those things aside and I think about our main character, so Odessa herself, there are things in this book that get repeated so often, like things people say, whatever, things people say to Odessa, things people say around her. But her questions that she keeps asking, I understand that she doesn't know a lot of stuff. I understand that she's been kept in the dark her whole life. But oh my God, girl, stop asking questions. Like, God damn. She keeps asking questions in a way that's like a child asking questions. So it's, what happened here? They get told, and oh, but why is that? And why does that happen? And when does that happen? And what happened here? And what happened there? And what's their name? And who's that? And who did that? And why we're not doing this? And everything. All her questions are like snap, 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 snap. And it's like she's not breathing between them. And okay, I could look past that, but she's repeating questions and she's getting different answers. So I think, personally, in the writing itself, we didn't need to ask the same question twice and get different answers. It's things like that that I feel like are unnecessary. And I feel like I'm being picky because this is such a good book. I am enjoying this book. I'm reading it quite fast. It's going well. Everything that is in this is interesting to me. Her questions are not slowing down. Don't get me wrong, they're not slowing down, and they probably won't slow down anytime soon. I love the answers that we're getting, but goddamn. So yeah, that's what my thoughts are at the moment. I'm going to update you guys when I finish the book, but until then I will just be sitting, relaxing, reading this, and doing some housework and everything in between. So I'll see you then. It's a little bit rainy and gloomy outside, which is the perfect reading weather, but I have in fact finished Shield of Sparrows by Devoney Perry. My thoughts on this didn't particularly change. So a lot of the things that were happening, like I was talking about, the vivid monster scenes stayed just as vivid and just as well thought out and done. I really enjoyed those. I enjoyed that it put me into that experience and it felt like I was running away from the monsters, albeit I'd probably fall flat on my face and get killed straight away, but that's beside the point. It was just written so well. The description of the world surrounding us and the monsters that are in that world was just flawless in my opinion. That was done really well. I continued to be annoyed by the main character and her questions. I think mainly because the narrative and the information dumping was relying solely on this weak crutch that was her incessant questions. So, like I was saying earlier, it was like a child going, but why, but why, but why, constantly. And I feel like that's just a lazy way to get the information into our heads, to get the information into the character's head. We could have done it a little bit more creatively, in my opinion. It just took me out of it when you have like 4 pages of her just asking questions over and over and over again, and she's repeating questions, and it's just certain things that didn't rub me the right way about that, because I don't want to be told. I prefer to be shown. I prefer for her to find out not by being told, like not by asking questions. I don't know how else to explain that. It's just, it felt like a lazy way to info dump, and it just was so different to what the rest of the book was describing that it was a little bit of a shock. I also, as is typical for me, there is sometimes a word in books that starts to irk me after a while. And in this book, it was dived. I feel like it started to gaslight me to think that dived was the proper way to say that word every time instead of dove. Like, her hands dived into his hair. Her hands also on the same page dived under his shirt. A couple of times dived was used like a child dived into her meal. It started to annoy me because every time the word dived was used, the word dove could have been used. And I understand why it wasn't, because I think a lot of people would read that as dove. But dived wasn't the right word. Like, okay, for example, the shirt scene, it didn't have to be her hands dived under the shirt. It could have been she shoved her hands under his shirt. We were in like a high lust scene. It didn't have to be dived under his shirt. In the same page that we dived our hands into his hair. Like, I ran my hands through his hair. I shoved my hands under his shirt. Stuff like that could have had different words. That wasn't the correct word, in my opinion, to use. And that happens to me a lot. There's always a word that once I notice it, I can't unnotice it. And because it was grammatically incorrect the first time it was used, I feel that I saw it more often. So that's not going against my rating at all. But oh my God, that sort of started to rub me the wrong way a little bit. And I kept having to put the book down going, okay. But in fact, I have given this book 4 stars out of 5 because it is a fantastic book. I think that this is beautiful world. It's got fantastic monsters. The fight scenes are flawless with the monsters, in my opinion. I was so immersed. The main character, however, I think took the star down for me. And like I said, her questions, but also just the way that she was fighting her personality that I could see trying to come through. And it was like certain reactions were coming from a different person. So that's my opinions on this. Obviously, it's going to be different to everyone else's opinions, but that's what I thought. I still enjoyed the book. I'm still going to run out and get the second book in April, I believe it comes out, because I still want to know what's happening. And this world is definitely one that I want to revisit. I just hope that the questions stop. Okay, so now we're going to pick off the wheel again. So I'm going to spin the wheel and it's going to pick what we're going to do. First, before I start, I'm going to just go into the settings and shuffle that around a bit so it's in different spots this time. And then we're going to spin the wheel. I'm so nervous. Oh my God. Okay, just do it. A 5-star prediction. Oh no. Okay, now I'm going to have to be really picky with this. Okay, I'm going to have a look at my bookshelves and I'm going to come back to you. So I found 2 books that could be 5-star predictions, and it's these 2 books. So we have The Moon Hatched by Sarah A. Parker, which I've heard so many great things about, and people that love the books that I love have loved this book. So there's high hopes for this. And then on the other hand, this is an author that I have given 5 stars to before, and I'm really hyped for this book, and I just haven't gotten to it, which is Throne of the Fallen by Kerry Maniscalco. This, I think, now that I'm holding both of these books, I think this one's the one I'm going to pick, because I feel like this one's the one that's been waiting the longest, and I feel like this is going to be one of those times where this has been waiting on my bookshelf for too long, and I just needed to start it. So I'm in fact going to pick this one. I know I came in going, oh no, what am I going to pick? Yeah, it's going to be this one. That was easy. I'll see you in a moment. So I didn't update you guys halfway through this book, and I ended up finishing this book, Throne of the Fallen. So let me just go over what I can remember of the synopsis of it. So essentially this is a spin-off series of the original trilogy, which was Kingdom of the Wicked, following Wrath and Amelia. And this is Envy's book. So this is the first book in the series that's going to follow all the other princes. They each get their own book, I'm gathering. And this is Envy's book. I don't think anyone expected Envy's book to be first, but it was really exciting when it got announced, back when it got released, when I should have read it. But this is basically following Envy, and he has basically got himself into a game where he's got to follow all these clues to get something back that's precious to him that he lost like centuries ago. And in this endeavor, he ends up coming across a human artist named Camilla that he has to get to commission a painting from her for these games that he's playing. So along the way, they're getting closer and closer through this book, and I was really, really enjoying these 2 as a couple. There was so much yearning in this book that I just didn't expect from a character like Envy, but I probably should have expected it. One of my favorite quotes was, "Her warmth enveloped him almost instantly, her scent filling the space between them until all he could think of was how much he envied her perfume for touching her skin when he couldn't." And if that isn't everything that you desire in a yearning-based book, that was just really amazing. It made me sort of stop and go, oh my God. I honestly really liked the main female character and Envy's chemistry. I think that they went really well together. It wasn't just, we'll pluck this random person out because all the princes of sin need a person for them. She was perfect for him. And I think that certain reveals that were happening in the book, I really enjoyed them because I couldn't predict exactly what would happen. So there were certain things that I predicted, but by the time that it came up to it, it was like 10% of the reveal. And so I actually really, really love Kerry Maniscalco's writing for that. And she's made me remember why I loved the original trilogy. I take a little bit longer to read her writing just because it makes me pay more attention, and that's not a bad thing whatsoever. That just means that I need to just pace myself and read it slowly, take the time to read it rather than rush through it, and I really enjoy that about her writing all the time. I have only read her original trilogy in this world. From this ending, she knows what we want. She knows what the readers want. She knows that we want Pride's story. So obviously I know now that the second book is Gluttony, and the third book was revealed as being Sloth, which hasn't been released yet but will be this year. I know all of that now, but if she keeps doing this through these books, I have a feeling Pride's book's going to be the very last book, and it's the book everyone is most anticipating, I feel, other than Gluttony's. I think Gluttony's is anticipated as well, but I think she's going to hold us out to the end for Pride because she keeps giving little teasers here and there that like give us a little bit of what we want. It's just trying to keep us like tantalizingly close to it, but really so far away. But yeah, I just really enjoyed this. I enjoyed Envy's point of view in it as well, having it from his perspective as well. I will say I didn't experience a lot of his circle like I wanted to, like the circle of Envy where he lives. I would have liked more of that, but I also understand we got a lot of that in the original trilogy, and there's obviously a reason why in this book we don't visit it, because the reason he's playing the games is to save his court from what's happening to them. So I understand why it didn't happen, but I would have liked to see a bit more of it, so that's why I'm only doing a 4-star. There were certain things that didn't reach where I know that she can reach for me, and I think it's purely the style of it, because there were games that were happening. So it's not like the games where battles happen necessarily, it's the games where you're trying to solve riddles and mysteries and everything, and I think that lost my interest after a certain amount of time, and I wanted them to like figure it out quicker, because I wanted certain things to happen quicker and to start happening quicker. I wanted to feel more of a attraction towards them, which I did. They definitely have an attraction to each other and towards each other. I just feel like I wanted to feel the depth of it more, and because of the way the characters are written, but also because of the characters' personalities and past things that have happened, I understand why I didn't get that as well. So it's just little tiny minuscule things that didn't make it a 5-star for me, but I believe she can get a 5-star from me, because her third book in the trilogy, the Kingdom of the Wicked trilogy, was a 5-star for me, and I believe the second book was too. So she can get there, and I believe. But that was me reading Throne of the Fallen. I did truly have an amazing time, and I can't wait to continue the series. I know I've only got one more book, but the next one's coming out this year, so I really have 2 more books. So I'm really excited to get to that, and Gluttony is going to be interesting, because I believe it's going to be with Gluttony and a reporter that basically has vendetta against him. So that'll be interesting as well, because she already lives in his sin circle. Is that what they're called? Sin circles? I feel like I'm saying that wrong. The land where they live is called the 7 circles. So I think it is like the circle of envy, circle of wrath, all of that. And then it's like house envy, house wrath. Okay, that makes more sense. We have a corn intruder brought to you by Minty. She very much wants to play with corn. Okay, but that is all my thoughts on Throne of the Fallen for now that I can grasp, because I literally just finished it. I am really satisfied with the ending, but I do wish that a certain painting that she painted was revealed to him in the book to see his reaction. That would have been really, really good. And if you've read it, I hope you know what painting I'm talking about. But I am going to try and fit one more book into this video. So let me just start recording my screen so I can spin the wheel again. Okay, so I've brought the wheel up again. We have corn here for company. Much to Minty's dismay, let us spin the wheel. I almost said corn. Trade paperback. So that means a book that is this height again, which is basically the height of a hardcover. So let me go grab a trade paperback that I want to read. Okay, I am back. I had stopped to play with the dog for a little bit, but I am back. And this is the book that I've picked out as trade paperback. It is as tall as a hardcover, and it is Wild Dark Shore by Charlotte McConaughey, and it is an Australian author. And I believe it is set on an Australian, or an island that's in between Australia and Antarctica, which is basically an Australian island. I'm excited for this book. I wanted to read it all last year. Sorry, I'm a bit out of breath. But I really want to read it now, and I've heard really good things about it. So, yeah, okay, I'm going to read this. I am fully aware that I look like a potato right now, but I've got to get my thoughts out on Wild Dark Shore a little bit. So this is really interesting at the moment. I also need to, before I start, reiterate what I said earlier about the island that it's based on. So this is a fictional island, but it is based on Macquarie Island between Tasmania and Antarctica, which I believe is what we also call Penguin Island here. It's really interesting that it's based on a real place, and I'm really enjoying that. This family lives on this island, and it's like a seed bank. So basically the seed bank is when you're preparing for species to go endangered or extinct, the seed bank houses these things to feed these animals or humans. You know, seed bank will be able to regrow these things for survival. is essentially what it is. And it's saving endangered plant species and everything, and making sure there is at least one form of that on Earth, just in case. And in the midst of this island, this family's preparing to get off this island in like 6 weeks. And in the midst of this, because the island is being chipped away by the ocean, it's very much disappearing before their eyes. And then this woman gets washed up on shore, and she is injured, basically close to death. And they're trying to figure out why she washed up, why she's there, and what happens to her, while she is trying to figure out what happens to her husband. So it's interesting right now. I'm actually really enjoying the way that we're describing the natural elements of plants and seeds, and the birds and the seals and the penguins, and like everything, the history of the seals and the culling of the seals that were happening in the seal barrels, which is a real historical thing that happened. I like the references with that. I like learning about like mangrove trees and snow gums and dandelions. I'm also enjoying like the really intriguing perspective on family and parenthood coming from the male character, the father of this book, and how he is explaining how he was able to parent as a single parent, and the appreciation he felt for his wife once she passed away, and how she took care of their first 2 kids, and how he was struggling to take care of the rest of the kids. There's a paragraph in here that says, how many times did I ask her which sleeping bag I should put the kids in, or where the swaddles were? How many times did I pass over a crying baby, disappointed, but also, come on, let's be honest, relieved to know that they just wanted mum, and that I could never truly be the last line of defense. Then she went, and here I remained. It was just me and baby. I did not know how I could ever be enough for him. That's just an excerpt from that whole page, and that whole page was just an appreciation for the fact that it didn't come naturally to her. She put in the effort to learn all these things about being a parent and being a mother, and he didn't realize it or appreciate it as much until she was gone, and he realized how much she'd gone through, and then how he was at the breaking point, and then his 2 children came in and helped him, and they became a team to help raise this other little boy. That was really, really touching for me to read something like that, because it's such beautiful writing, and it's just so breathtaking the way it's written. And I'm at the point now where I'm not even thinking about a star rating while I'm reading it. I'm just enjoying what it is, the eeriness, the mystery of it as well. And it's sort of got paranormal elements that are a little bit intriguing to me. So we will see how it goes from here. I'm just over halfway. I'm probably 60% of the way through now, but I thought I should update you guys while I had things fresh in my head. But at the moment, we're revealing little things, and I'm getting a little bit suspicious that one of the perspectives is a very unreliable narrator, and maybe I shouldn't believe what they're saying so much. So I am enjoying it, and I will get back to you on what my thoughts are once I finish. Thank you, sweetheart. I need a moment. I'm an absolute mess and I'm all splodgy, but oh my god, this book. Don't cry. I loved this book so much. Oh my god. The connections with like healing a family, and just the connection with bushfires and wildlife and the ocean and the wildlife in the ocean and the survivals of seeds and stuff that's going endangered. That aside, oh my god, I don't have any words for what I'm experiencing. I need to stop crying for a start. Oh my god. This is everything I hoped it would be. This is an Australian story at its heart.
It's got all the emotions and feelings that I love from Australian stories. We had the connection to bushfires and wildlife and how they protect themselves in the bushfires, and the pain that comes with bushfires, but also the healing that comes with the land, because there's always things in the Australian environment when bushfires go through that regrow and they survive. And through all the loss, there is always hope at the end of it. And the connection to the Indigenous and how they relate those things to rebirth, and how that was sort of a metaphor for this family and this island that they were on and they were caretaking. I really enjoyed it. Oh my god, I can't decipher good words to describe this. But oh my god, I loved it so much. It was so good. I think thinking about it, this beginning was definitely a little bit for me to get connected to. But by about halfway through, it had me. And I was wanting to know what was happening and finding out the truth and making sure that certain things didn't happen, and certain things that were being described by the children in this book. This is just a fantastic book. I love it so much. Now I'm going to have to read the other 2 books that she released. I just have to now. What a good author book. I love the language she was writing in. I love the way that she was describing things. And I'm going to be thinking about this for a while. The reason it's not going to be a 5-star now that I'm thinking about it is not the writing at all. The writing is beautiful, atmospheric. It's just, it hits you at your core and gets you to understand what it's saying. I think mostly the character, or one of the characters, a couple of the characters were unlikable at the start, and they became likable, which is the journey you get taken on in this book. But I feel like the disconnect that I felt maybe means that it's not quite a 5 stars for me. But this writing, I can already tell it can turn into a 5 star so easily. So easily. And at a different time, it may have been a 5-star as well. Maybe I was slowing down my reading, who knows. But this was so good. So when I started filming this video, I was at 135 books on my physical TBR. And after filming this video, obviously I've gotten it down to 132. I am hoping that this series that I'm doing will help me get through my TBR easier. I've also got a 26 in 2026 to get through, and I have ticked off in this video 2 of those books already. So I am hoping that in the future these videos will help me get through this TBR, help me refine the things that I enjoy and keep them on the bookshelf, and to get rid of anything that I don't enjoy, so it makes room for more things for me to discover and enjoy in the future. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm sorry I look like a wreck at the end of it, but that's what that book did to me. I will see you in the next video, but until then, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your month, and I'll see you then.